Shalom. We're in Parashah Netzviim. That means standing. But it is a plural word. So that means many people standing. And it's in the context of standing before Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your families and all the leaders and everyone. So it seems like it coincide and support last week's teaching on how the Mount Ebal people will go through the wine press. And in this one, it's more about the people on Mount Gerizim, because they are standing in front of Yahweh, their Elohim. They made that personal connection. They made Yahweh their personal Elohim. So that basically gives us an idea of spiritual maturity. So what this basically leans towards, and I think I'm going to continue with that, is to look at the 6 tribes standing on Mount Gerizim, the mountain with the sword. And this seemed to be the time frame. I'll probably discover it as I go through the names. This seemed to be the time frame after the Great Tribulation. The righteous people stand before Yahweh, their Elohim. And the reason I'm saying that, because Netzvaim comes from the word Natzav, that also means to anoint and to appoint. So that gives us the idea that the anointing, the people will receive an anointing from Yahweh, and that anointing will be used during the next cycle, which will be the wine press. So this is basically then, in that context, the appointment of the judges and the leaders and their families standing before Yahweh, the Elohim, and getting their task to manage, to uplift, to teach, to support, to guide those who are still in the physical, entrapped in the flesh, as well as entrapped by time. And Netzvaim, if you look at the Hebrew letters, it's Nun Tzadik Bet, which is Natzab. And Natzab starts with or ends with the letter Bet, that's in the physical. So that's the entry into the house. The Bet opens up in towards the left, which is the nations can now have access to the house. It gives me the idea of the tabernacle, where the first outer court represents that Bet. And as you enter into the outer court, you get access to the holy place, which is the letter Tzadik. So that's where the righteous judges operate from and facilitate worship towards Yahweh as well as towards the people, and help the people to connect. Now remember, in a couple of Torah portions back, when we look at the Levites, the word Levi means to interweave. Now, if you weave a tapestry, you take horizontal and vertical strands and interweave them. And when you do that, you get a tapestry, you get a picture that is made up from physical connections overlaying with spiritual connections or ideas. And that reveals Yahweh as the Almighty to the people. Now, the judges are just like the Levites. They are the kingdom of priests in this context, and they are going to facilitate the worship towards the people. And that is the reason for the Tzadik. Now, on the other side of the Tzadik, you get the letter Nun. Now, Nun represents seed. It also represents fruitfulness. Now, the fruitfulness has to do with the fruit of the Spirit. It also has to do with the seed of the Word and the seed of Mashiach that changed the nature. Remember when Adam and Chava engaged with the Nachash, they received the seed or the venom of the Nachash, which came through lies or twisting the truth, and that caused the fallen nature. Now, those who have been interacting with the Torah contains the seed of Mashiach, the seed that's the opposite of Nachash, the seed of truth, and that seed change your nature, and that's a symbolism of the Nun on the right hand side. So this means that they have been transformed, they've got a new nature, they also have a new hybrid body, a spiritual / physical body that can manifest in both realms, and they can interact with physical people in the physical, being seen and perceived as physical people, in the same way that people encountered angels in this realm, in this day and age, where the angel can appear and then disappear. It's the same type of body that the judges and the rulers and the kingdom of priests will have. Now the anointing, imagine now the time sequence is the great war, the great tribulation ending with Armageddon, destruction of Babylon, the gathering of the bride, the resurrection of the righteous, and they all gathered together, and Yahweh or Mashiach takes them in their arms, spiritually or symbolically, stepping over the threshold, which is the Kidron Valley, into the house of the Father, and they are now betrothed. So that is the marriage feast that will happen in the spiritual, while the starting of the winepress will begin on the earth. Now I believe after the marriage feast, then they will be appointed as judges, because they are not there to hold a party and a feast for 1,000 years. That's not what it's about. They need to rule as judges, who is Mashiach, for 1,000 years over the nations. So this is the other meaning of Netzvaim, are the nations standing before Yahweh their Elohim with the mediators, similar to Mashiach, mediating on behalf of the people. Just like Moses, just like Mashiach, the judges will now be the neck that connects the physical and the spiritual, and the appointment of the kingdom of priests. That is what we are going to discover in this parasha. So I think we'll get a lot of detail in the names of the 6 tribes on Mount Gerizim. I'm going to bring in the meaning of Mount Gerizim as well, just to overlay that within those ideas, and let's see what we discover as we move on. So I haven't started with that. I'll probably start tomorrow morning with that. Just wanted to contemplate and think about the framework for this parasha, how it links back to the previous Torah parasha, and the storyline, the prophetic storyline, and also where we are in relation to the physical in our day and age. So in sync with this parasha, we are moving into the time, because this Torah portion is normally the Torah portion before trumpets. And trumpets is basically the appearing of Mashiach. So this is the final preparation of the bride before the coming of Mashiach. So we've got a week of final preparation in the back of our minds, thinking about becoming the kingdom of priests, becoming the judges, and we are going to be transformed, and we are going to be anointed to facilitate a function. So salvation is not selfish, it's not for you. You are saved to be someone who can perform work within and on behalf of the kingdom. You exist for the benefit of others, not for yourself. And with that mindset, Yahweh can usually use you in the kingdom. If you want to nourish and build your own ego and build everything around what you think, then you're going to miss the mark, and you might not become part of the priesthood or the kingdom of priests, because they exist for people, not for themselves. So just have that in mind in your preparation this week, as we're going to step into the fall festival season, which is all about the second coming of Mashiach. So I'll leave you with that, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you soon. Shalom.